Hey everyone, it's Jeremy from Mythic Customs here. Figured I'd had a little bit of time tonight. Take some time and shoot a live video, kind of share the collection with everybody. So earlier this week on the Cabal, somebody posted a comment asking to see some people's collections. I posted a photo of a really old photo of my Mythic Legions display, and I mean it was like over a year old. It was actually before the Advent of Decay wave even shipped. So I think in the picture I had 6 Detolf cases of Mythic Legions. It's up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's like 13 now. I said a number of people have asked me over time, hey, if you got some time, take some videos. I'd love to see the display. So figured we'd do that. There's a bunch of people jumping on right now. Dennis, Anthony, Steve, thanks for joining. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip around the camera and I'm just going to kind of take you through a tour of my display. The toy room is largely Mythic Legions. I've been collecting for a long time, so I do have some other stuff here as well. So you'll see a little bit of both, but once I'm done, I don't know if there's going to be some, I'm sure people have some questions if you want me to show something specific. I'm happy to do that. I'll probably ignore the questions for the beginning of the video as I kind of take people through everything. You'll probably also see some stuff I haven't posted yet. There is some stuff in the cases that I haven't had a chance. Some of it I photographed, but I haven't had a chance to actually post it up on Instagram yet. So you get a little sneak peek tonight, right? So with that, what I'll do is I'll start and I'll kind of pan the room and I'll show you what the display as a whole looks like because I can't photograph it. It's 360, so it doesn't end up photographing well. But I'll kind of pan and then I'll go back and I'll kind of spend a little bit of time on each shelf, right? So let's flip this around. Let's see, how the hell do I do that? I have no idea how to flip this around. There we go. All right, so when you come into the display room, you kind of walk in and this is the view that you have. And the first thing over here, this is actually a non-Mythic Legions area. So I have these 4 large freestanding shelves that the top is all Masterpiece Transformers. The second shelf is kind of my tribute to the 80s. I'm totally a child of the 80s, so it's kind of all the heroes and villains from that era. There are these 2 gigantic Toys Alliance, Prime and Megatron. But then there's some of my custom 6-inch G.I. Joes I did. There's Turtles, Ghostbusters, Iron Giant. There's a little bit of everything there. And there is actually a few mythics in there. There's my custom to Strongheart from Dungeons and Dragons is right there. And then I have my Not War Duke over here. Lighting's not great down here, so bear with me. But then underneath that, I've got a couple shelves of Marvel Legends. But turning around, once you go past that, that's where the Legions start. So here's the first thing of Legions, and I'll pan the room. So there we go. That's one wall. And then we got 4 shelves. So I'll bang into stuff. We got 4 shelves on this wall. And the opposite is over here. A couple shelves there. So like I said, it's hard to get it all in one shot because it's so big. And this is where most of the stuff, the toy display is. I'll come right back here, but right over here in this room, I also have, this is my den area, and I also do have a couple of shelves in here too. This is where I've got like my Muppets display, a bunch of Nightmare Before Christmas stuff, and just some Peanuts, some random stuff that's a little more kind of kiddish, I guess. But back over here, so going over to the Mythic. So this first case, this is up there. That's actually a couple Final Fantasy figures that I thought worked really well. But these here, this is my display of kind of Arabian Nights type characters. There's my Blue Djinn, who's really the first Mythic that I ever did. But those are my djinns and genies and everything. This is I recently sold a number of kind of like samurai inspired figures. I actually made some for myself as well. I didn't just sell them. These I'm going to be posting soon. There's my version of the skeleton that I did. My vampire and goblin. Down here I've got more samurais. These are my heroic characters where the other one was evil. And there's one there that I haven't shown yet either. And then down here, this is my Order of the Stoned Lotus. These are my monks. Back in the back, those are my tribute to the three kings. So I have those as well. Next shelf, this is my winter themed shelf. So up here I have my big ice dragon, white dragon that I used doing a Jurassic Park character. My tribute to the Cold Miser half frost giant that I made quite some time ago before the ogre scales came out. Got some frost elves here. That frost elf king in front, he's a new one that I haven't shown yet. My frost dwarf, he's one I've always liked. These are my winter council, I call them. I showed the other day on my Instagram page, I showed a Fey character that I called Medved the Bear. That's from a book called Bear and the Nightingale. Book that's very heavily inspired by Russian fairy tales. This is another character from that book. This is Morzoko, the Winter King. Got my Battle Santa back there, my Krampus. Some more characters here. An old 7th Kingdom one. This is my Ice Troll that I brought to Legions Con with his bone armor on. Kind of a Kratos that I had that. I used his armor on one of my dwarves, so had to do something with him. So he's in here right now. And there's always been a popular one, my Ice Skeleton. Let's see. And then down here to the Frost Goblins. Love, love, love my little Frost Gobs. And these goblins, I decided to display them with the ice characters, the snow characters, because I do have actually a whole, we'll get to it, but I have a whole case coming up that is just goblins. So I talked about the character I posted the other day of the bear. That's him right there. But these are my Fey type characters. These are all fairies and pucks and everything and elves. This is what I call the summer court. So these are all my elves. I've got my elf king Adon sitting on this custom throne that I got off Etsy. More kind of like forest characters. Got Artemis in back there. These characters actually, I played a couple games of Dungeons and Dragons with my kids. I played D&D big when I was a kid in the 80s, and these here were my kids wanted to play it recently, so I played with them, and this kind of Forest Knight and this Pixie kind of were representations of the characters that my daughter and myself played. For people just joining in, I did say that, when I'm done kind of giving a tour, I'll answer some of the questions. I see people asking me a few questions, so I'll answer those kind of at the end. More kind of fairy type characters. Another one back there that I haven't shown yet. My gnomes. I really dig my gnomes. It's one of the things I like to do with these is I like to create new characters, new races, twig blights here that we haven't gotten in Mythic Legions yet. I always think that's fun. Here are my dark elves. I call them my Unseelie Court. This character is popular. My Master of the Hunt. And again, the lighting's not great in some of the areas down here, so I'm doing my best. My Wasteland characters, so my Trapjaw, my Wasteland Ravager, my version of Death Dealer, those are all down here. The Archimedes that I posted recently with his upgraded weapons. Some Barbarians. More Barbarians. I call these my Highland Barbarians, so these are obviously very, you know, kind of Celtic inspired Barbarians, where the other ones are more, I don't know, Northern Barbarian, more Viking-y, I guess. Yeah, more Barbarians. My little leprechaun right there. And then occasionally I have shelves that don't really fit much of anywhere, so I kind of have to squeeze them in. This is one of those shelves. These are my bards. There's my tribute to my buddy Dennis Derby. I made him into a little bard. My gypsy, my bard character, bard assassin, Jack Motley. Most of these you can find on my Instagram page. Colosseum. Got my big Brontis back there. You know, all the different gladiator type characters. This is the first time I've gone live on Facebook on the Cabal, so when I'm done, I'll post this video as well. I believe that allows me to do that, but I'll post this video so anyone that's jumping in late or whatever, or doesn't have, you know, 20 minutes or whatever to watch me ramble, they can watch it at their leisure. My Army of Leodicius characters. And like I said, I will answer questions at the end, but I'm not answering questions about All-Stars. Anyone that's like, hey, how's the All-Stars 3 vote going? Who's winning? Not going to answer those. I do know, but I'm not going to answer them. My Dragon Blade character, that's my tribute to an old Total Chaos, old McFarlane Total Chaos figure. Here's my Templars. I like to kind of change things up. I like to have my own mythos here. I always imagine the Templars, I call them the Order of the Crimson Cross. I imagine them kind of as these like fanatical monster hunters, but their definition of monster is so broad. This guy in front's pretty cool. This, you know, I do a ton of customs. A lot of the pieces in my collection are customs, but I was a collector long before I was a customizer, and I just love cool toys. So this is actually a custom that someone else did. Zombie 13 did this Undead Templar. I got that through my action figure customs. My dwarves over here. Oh man, the lights are really bad on this side. But these are some of my dwarves. I mean, if you want to see good details of these, look on my Instagram page anyway. This is more just so you can see kind of the scope of the collection. You know, there's how I display my Dwarven King. I put Bromden on a throne, and I actually put the Bromden head and crown out of Valgard Barty because I always thought that gold armor looked very kingly, flanked by a couple Cavern Dwarf guards. Some more dwarves here. And someone said earlier they like that the shelves aren't super packed. That's recent, actually. I actually added a few cases recently to spread stuff out a little bit. Things were getting pretty tight, and that's actually one of the reasons I've been selling some pieces recently too, is just to kind of clear it up. These are my like magic users. Monkey guy. My vampire hunters. Man, as I go through and display all these and talk through them, I'm like, holy hell, I have a lot of these. Not like I didn't know that, but vampires. So this is my vampire ruling council back there with these red thrones. I got a couple soldiers in front guarding them. Oh, I just love how that displays. More vampires down here. And then a bunch of the old Scarabus stuff. Whole shelf full of old Scarabus figures. I've been collecting Horseman for a long time, so some of those older figures, I have those mixed in with the Legions. Here's my skeletons. Ooh, another new one right there that I haven't posted yet. My skeleton, kind of Mongolian archer. Giving you guys teasers of all this stuff. I didn't realize I had so much stuff on display I haven't shown yet. My skeleton king and queen on their big thrones. More skeletons. Yeah. Some monsters over here. My gargoyle back there, that was a popular one I did for G-Con, first year of G-Con. Couple werewolves, just some other monsters. So these are my goblins. This entire detolf, anyone that looks at my stuff knows I love doing the gobs. The top of this detolf is like my bog goblins. I got my big croc over here. And this one I posted recently was super popular. My drowned ogre, that awesome head from my action figure customs. But then I've just got shelves of gobs. So I've got my King Noglin back there on his giant throne of trash. Yeah, so some people said I need lights. This is not ideal to take photos of, but when you're down here, you can see everything. I don't have enough plugs to really light all these anyway. Probably my favorite of the gobs is right here. This guy, Gunzo. My Tinker Dwarf with his wings. More dwarves and my troll. I love this dwarf back here. This dwarf with his like Kiss style face paint. That's my dwarf bard with his big drum. And those banners he has on, I looked up like Goblin characters, Goblin alphabet, and those banners actually say Gobs Rock. Hey, Walter's here. What's up, Walter? Taking a page out of your book and going live on Facebook. Goblins. Bunch of demons. Got my Azar and Zazar. A lot of people I know voting for them in the All-Stars right now. There are mine. These are all my orcs. My orc king on his throne back there. Lots of orcs. So I like to keep, obviously the collection together. I've got my goblins together, and I've got my orcs together. And these things do get rotated pretty regularly as I, change things up, sell customs, add new customs. I'm always kind of moving stuff around. That one back there, that's a test shot. It's an Ogre Legion Builder test shot in back, kind of as a statue. All my birds. Love that display. Got my Aetheron right there. Some of my anthropomorphic characters. You can see there's a big like elephant type throne in the middle, but no one's sitting on it. That's because the king of that display is in the back room. He's on the workbench right now. Some old 7th Kingdom stuff, the elephants. Still love those figures. More 7th Kingdoms back there. And then down here we've got the Minotaurs, the 7th Kingdom Minotaurs. Still love them. You can't even see them. Oh, so dark. And I've got pretty much all the Minotaurs. The only one I don't have is the Royal Guard, the kind of cow one. That's the only one I've never been able to get my hands on. Still looking for one. My angels. My pirates. You can see me in the reflection. Pirate characters here. Here's my bounty hunters. My mythic G.I. Joes. My favorite of which is probably the Zartan right there. And that's actually it for the mythics. I mean, down here, some people asked if I collect other stuff. Yeah, there's some Predators down there, and some Lord of the Rings, and Sandman, Harry Potter, some Star Wars stuff, more Star Wars, some Spawn. So I whenever I talk about the Horseman, I always talk about the fact that I started collecting them back in the McFarlane days, and a lot of this stuff is, you know, the Horseman's work from back in the day, and some articulated icons. So that's pretty much the entire display. Like I said, I know that some of it's dark as I tried to get up on it. The goal here was not necessarily to zone in on any one figure. You can definitely see better shots of them on my Instagram page or on my website, mythiccustoms.com. This was more just to show the scope of this. So Walter asked, what do I use to raise them up? A lot of what I use, it's kind of cheesy, but it's cheap and I can afford it. A lot of what I use are these green foam blocks. So these green foam blocks that I use, I get them from like Michael's. They're craft foam that you're supposed to put like, I think, artificial plants or something in, you know, to make like arrangements. They're super easy to cut with a razor. They make a mess. They kind of shed and everything. But they work really, really well to stack them up. And what I usually do is I try to wait till I find like a coupon for, you know, a discount off the purchase at Michael's, and I go and I pick some of them up. And that allows me to get these little levels that I have. And, you know, you'll see that throughout the entire collection. Let me see, there's another one I can show. But like right here, so, you know, you can see that I've got a couple levels that I've been able to do. That way I can display multiple characters in there at once. And that works really well. And there's other, you can get like acrylic risers, like down here. I have acrylic risers for the articulated icons, and you can see from the side view. They look great, but one of those acrylic risers might have been like $15 or something. To try to get enough risers to do all of this would just be cost prohibitive. So those foam blocks work really, really well. So Richard, thank you very much for the comments on the setup. Yes, articulated icons. A couple people saying that they're sweet. I've got Len over here saying, ooh, Sandman. Where's Len? Hey, Len, check this out. Look what I got on display back there, buddy. There he is. We were just talking about this guy, Poacher from the old McFarlane days. Love that figure. Let's see. Didn't even know about the elephants. Yeah, the Seventh Kingdom elephants are great. Ironically, I just got a couple more of those that I got some damage on them that I'm going to put up for trade at some point soon. But yeah, the elephants, these are some of their old stuff that they did years ago. The pink elephant, which I always thought was incredibly silly. Love it so much. That was actually a store Horseman exclusive back in the day. Great, great figures. And they're huge too. So if I hold one of these guys up to an ogre, I mean, look, hold on a second. I can do this better. I'll take it down. So, you know, you look at an ogre scale, and this is a custom I did, obviously, but you look at an ogre scale next to those elephants, and you can get a sense of how big those elephants actually were from back in the day. They're not small figures. They're good sized figures. Put that back. Let's see what other questions I have. Yeah, some female goblins. Someone pointed out some female gobs. Yeah, I definitely wanted to do those. It's funny, after I posted the female goblin, shortly after I did that, it was actually a Toy-Con event, and I was talking to Eric from the Horseman, and he actually commented that he had never thought really about female goblins, and then he saw my goblin, and he was like, yeah, we're going to have to do female, so maybe we'll see those in the line soon enough. We'll see. Someone asked if I collect anything besides Mythics. Yeah, I showed a couple of those. This wall over here has a ton of stuff. Ton of the Transformers and Marvel Legends. I've been collecting for a long time, so let's see. So is any other questions before I log out? I'm happy to answer. Like I said, anything except for All-Stars. Steve says, I just bought a Poacher. Yeah, dude, Poacher's an awesome figure. It's funny because there's a second Poacher as well. I don't know what they call it, but there's like a second version of it that's a new sculpt, and it's a great sculpt, but it's even less articulated than the Total Chaos version. I actually have one of it in pieces that I'm messing around with. Jason, holy crap, your collection's amazing. Thank you very much. A lot of years doing it. A lot of years. Yeah, like I said, a lot of fun. Wanted to just kind of take everyone through the tour, show them how I display it, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this wall, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, you know what, too? I have the corners, too. There's stuff in the corners, and you're not going to see that. But there's some figures, these shelf corners, I've got some figures on as well, including this guy over here. I haven't shown him yet. So this is my Frost Giant, which I haven't posted him. And that's, if you could probably tell that's an 18-inch Kratos. But if you want to see how absolutely insane it is. So I'm putting a Frost Dwarf over here. So there we go. There's the Frost Dwarf next to my Frost Giant. And I tried to kind of mix it up a little bit, change him up so he didn't look so much like Kratos. I don't play video games, so I don't mind using characters like that because it doesn't immediately say Kratos to me, although that particular character is pretty popular. Even I, who don't play video games, know who he is. Cool. Well, with that, I thank everyone for joining me. That's what I wanted to do. Maybe I'll do another one of these again when there's a little better lighting, or maybe I'll get some light and play around. I know I see some of Travis's from the podcast. I see some of his posts, and he's got like LED lights kind of lining it, and that looks awesome. I've just never taken the time or effort to really line all these up with lights, so maybe that's something else to do. Steve asks, is that a full set of birds? It is not. I've had a full set of birds. I've sold a bunch of them over time. Now it's a bunch of them, but it's kind of the ones I really like. I didn't get many of the second series. The second series birds didn't appeal to me as much. I have a blue jay here that I've customized. Those wings with all the extra paint on them are custom. But I really like the Quetzalcoatl, the Phoenix, the black and white raven. So I have a lot of those that are there. So it's a bunch of figures. It's a bunch of the birds from the first wave. But even that, I've sold a few of those over time, like the Griffin. I ended up selling him and a bunch of the others too. They're awesome figures, but it became a matter of displaying them. And because they're all essentially the same figure with different heads, it was kind of like, yeah, I can't have them all. So people saying they like the Ice Skeleton and Snow Miser. Yeah, the Snow Miser is pretty crazy. The Snow Miser is good. I like him a lot. And then there's a Heat Miser down. Where the hell did Heat Miser? Oh, the Heat Miser's down here. There he is, back there. Someone asking if I've made any Lizardmen. I have not done any like reptilian type character. I'm trying to think. I've done so many. I've got like, 300 and something customs that I've done in the last few years. So sometimes I legitimately forget what I've done. But Lizardmen are not something that I've really explored yet. I've looked at a couple different Marvel Legends, literally lizard figures, to think if I could maybe do something with those, but I never got inspired much. Walter's saying Malleus. Yep, there he is. Walter's favorite. Yeah, Walter's saying I have to watch from the beginning. Like I said, when I'm done, I'll post this on the page so anyone that wants to check it out can do so. But anyway, again, thank you, everyone. If you haven't voted for All Stars already, make sure that you get subscribed to the Four Horsemen newsletter. If you're not already subscribed, jump on board, get your votes in. We've got 2 weeks to get those votes in. We're going to do another email to anyone who may not have been subscribed initially. We're going to send out another blast on that probably this week, I think on Friday. So look for that. And yeah, talk to you soon, everybody. Thanks again.